Yo, what's up, guys? My name is Angel,
I'm Kelly.
and we are Bama to the rescue. So today, I am going to be doing like an introduction video, kind of walking you around the property of how it started and where we're at. Um, Kelly will be filling in because I tend to jump around through places. But so the first thing I will show you will be the house. This is the house, and excuse the dogs. So this is our home, and the trees. My favorite part, the trees, Mr. Oak Tree. But this is the front of the house, and there was a cloud of smoke that just went by. Um,
I think you stepped in. You did. You are left a present.
oh, uh, yes, he did. Thank you. I can hold that. I thought you could see preview, but I guess
You
you
can on there.
Anyway, so this is our home. This is in good old Alabama. So the name in which we call it is Bama to the rescue. And for me, my factors in that was living in the city. Um, we spent so much money eating out and realizing how unhealthy we were. We've gotten when I say 80% better here, 80% better. So Bama kind of rescued us. It kind of made us realize that we need to eat better, live better, and connect with the nature, our surrounding areas. So hence, this is why this property, it actually called to us, because we tried to avoid this property, I don't know, 4 or 5 times for a long time, but there was something about it that just brought us back to it. All right, so that's a little bit kind of about for me. What about for you?
Well, I think too it was about family. My parents are getting on up there in age, and I've got two nieces that live here. My sister, her husband, and so it was kind of just getting back closer to family. We like the idea of being part of a community, and so definitely have been drawn toward the holistic idea of healing.
Wait a minute, you moved too fast.
I'm not.
Oh, sorry. I can cut that out.
We are drawn to the holistic part of living. Yes, living north of Nashville. It was too close to the city, and so now we're able to enjoy all this beautiful nature.
So, one thing that I love about this property is we have about, I'm gonna say 4 acres of trees that we have yet to explore. I plan on this winter, but all the leaves fall down and there are less creepy crawlies to come out here and kind of explore more. I have no idea what we're gonna do with this, if we're gonna do anything. I think eventually we want to, down here where this is kind of a mess, clean this out and have like a natural kind of water stream going down here, and that's something I have to do research on. So if you guys got any ideas, just let us know. So that's kind of been, eventually we want to close this in and make it a building. And over here we have, so we're gonna go back to the front of the house before we get to the back, and I kind of want to walk you through real quick some things that we have done on our journey to being better. This is trying to just catch everybody up, because we're going to kind of just pick up from here. A lot of my friends gave me the idea to do a then to now initial video, and then everything else we follow through. So behind us we have the well. Earlier this year I had it tested and I had somebody drill down into it, and basically the thing cannot run out of water. So eventually I want to put a water pump in there to pump water out, be able to use it. The only thing is it has a lot of iron in it. So, but we don't plan on using it for inside the house unless we have to. It'll be mainly for outside. So that's kind of the first thing. You have any herbs in here?
Here, this garden, this flower bed is very shaded. It gets little to no sun. So I did put rosemary here, but it has showed me that it does need more sun than what it's getting, because I planted that one and the one I'll show you in a minute. That's the only herb I have there. But this front flower bed is more herbs, and I have lemon balm. I have lemon balm, 3 plants of lemon balm. This is a crepe myrtle. It brings in, when it blooms, it brings in the pollinators. But I've got the lemon balm, I've got sage, and then I've got another sage here. I do need to weed my garden, but here's another rosemary, and we've already clipped off of this rosemary probably 3 times. So this one gets the morning sun till about 12 o'clock. So from sunrise till about noon, this garden gets sunshine. So these are doing a lot better. But I've got parsley. There's another sage. There's another parsley.
I guess it would help if I kind of point these out.
I'm kind of zoomed in.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
there's different parsleys. The sage.
here's your sage. Here is another.
Don't step on your lemon mint. There's a parsley. Get out of that.
Here's the
rosemary.
Well, I don't know why I want to call it thyme.
Right there at your foot is lemon mint.
Here's another sage.
Sage.
And so that's kind of and then too, you can see where when it rains, the water that floods it, it kind of washes away the bottom, some of the stuff. It washes it like almost completely away. That's something else we want to look at.
This will eventually become a natural pond herb area in this grass. We're gonna dig this up and put in a koi pond or goldfish. It'll be a fish pond, not the whole thing, but starting in the far corner, it'll come down with a water feature, and then around the water feature will be more herbs and flowers for the pollinators, just anything to bring in our birds. We try to feed them. We've got 3 hummingbird feeders. We don't have near as many hummingbirds here as we did at Talavera in Tennessee, but hopefully that'll change eventually.
So the next thing we put in was we put gutters up, and then we added these 225-pound barrels. 225 gallon IBC water barrels. And we did wash them. We pressure washed the inside, washed it with Dawn dish soap to be exact, to make sure that we got them clean. So the issue is that for us, the first rain, they filled up. When we put them out here, the first time it rained, they were full. So now the next question is, oh, you put the thing back on. Somebody did. So the next question is now, like, how do we, I guess we're going to figure out, what do we do with all this water? I mean, I know what we want to do with it, but we got a long ways to get it.
This is material for all the projects that we still have in the works.
Also, here's another one. This is on the back of the house. So it's 2 of them that we need to get water out of.
This trash can was our original method for collecting water off the roof, but as you can tell, I mean, it would overflow and still flood the area, and other than using a watering can and dipping it here and taking it to the garden or wherever we needed around the porch, that was the only way we were able to move the water. So now we have this set up, which it has the connections on it to run lines, but this just getting it to where we need is where we're at at the moment?
Greenhouse. Of course, I didn't build a greenhouse. We decided to pay someone. That way it was put on a concrete slab and kind of welded together, as you can tell. So this thing will be up for a long time. It's a mess in there right now. But once the fall gets here, we'll kind of do a video showing you what the plans are in the greenhouse. So right here is where we had our garden. A lot of it we've uprooted, mainly the cucumber, squash, and zucchini, due to the fact that it was just so many of them. It was like taking over. It's kind of like this purple basil right here. I did learn a lesson this year. I planted my collard greens in the summer. Between the bugs and the sun just eating them up, I maybe got...
Oh, sorry. I heard the guineas.
I maybe got 2 harvests out of them. So a project which I'm going to do is we're going to end up uprooting them. And then closer to the fall, maybe in the next 4 weeks, I will plant some seeds that I have. And we got to figure out what we're doing with this basil. Something else we added were the raised beds. Our soil is extremely rocky. Like it is, you scrape a layer and you're scraping rocks. So we decided to go with these raised beds, and basically what I did was get some 2x6x8s, 2x6x10s, excuse me, and I cut them in half and stacked them 3 high. And in the middle I put a piece of bracket, that way they wouldn't bow when we put the dirt in there. What we did after that was we took he just pooped behind you. What we did after that is we took some cardboard pieces of trees that had fell and basically filled in the bottom layer, kind of as a weed barrier. It worked, but it didn't work. We still had a ton of weeds. So we got to go through and weed all these and get this ready for our fall crop. Our peppers, as you see, are still plentiful, surrounded by basil. I think we're going to uproot them later. I'm going to uproot them probably after I get whatever I can off this weekend. We got one basil plant over here that is thriving still. But that's what we did with the beds. If you want me to show you how I built them, I can. I can direct you to the YouTube in which I found these. Then we got more pepper plants over here, same thing. This was our first year. So the one thing that we did was we rushed, and I think because we rushed, we overplanted.
Oh, look at our kale.
Oh wow, here's some, oh see, the sun. We have to clip these back. Look at our spinach. No, that's a
weed.
This is kale we planted. Again, we planted them too early. It's too hot. So we're probably going to end up clipping all that back and just keeping them clipped back until it cools off a little bit so that they'll thrive more.
This soil has made the basil. Basil is a good herb to have in your garden. The scent of a basil will ward off certain pests, deer, things like that. And so we planted it within our, oh wow. Oh, look at that. We've had a struggle with these red peppers actually coming off red. So
my first red pepper.
Yeah, but anyway, we planted the basil, and while it was underneath all the tomatoes that we had planted, it barely grew. But as soon as we took the tomatoes out, we've cut this. I've sent a bunch to my mom. It is crazy. And then this is the oregano that's growing, just taking over. Some more weeds and good old Alabama fire ants.
If you have a way to get rid of them, please let us know in the comments.
Oh, there's weeds.
Yeah, we gotta get a hand to the garden.
What is this here laying on the ground?
That's the tomatoes laid over.
No, what's this right here?
This will be the asparagus / strawberry bed. I just need to cut 2 more pieces and then I'll put them together. I'm actually gonna do them different because I use treated lumber. I'm gonna be able to secure them on the ends with these brackets on the 4 corners. And the reason I use treated is because I didn't use treated on these beds, but this lumber will still last 3 to 5 years. But what happens is, as this lumber starts to break down or decompose, I'll wrap them in roofing tinfoil, and that way this will just become part of like the compost process.
The key is to use pine or spruce, any kind of pine tree, just because when you use the pressure treated, there's chemicals that are in the wood, and so while it's not going to be a big issue, if your goal is to live as natural as possible, you would want to stay away from a pressure treated because of the chemicals that can leach into your soil. This won't be a big deal for this size bed, but
yeah, these are all natural, but they do break down in 3 to 5 years. They'll start to rot. I mean, I could do it two ways. I could rewrap them on the outside. Or I could just wrap them in the roofing metal.
you can also burn treat them, and that'll
help
slow them down.
Slow them last 5 to 7 years, but it's just a good way to add into the compost. So now this is also my witch hazel tree, and this won't bloom until the fall. But once it blooms this fall, then you actually take the bark, not the leaves. You take the bark, and that's where you get a lot of like your witch hazel. Like witch hazel is good for skin and other things of that nature. But I like using it on my skin. It's like it helps clean your skin and clear up your skin. So back here is some more of the land. We're in the backyard now. Again, we have about 4 acres of trees. So this is kind of what it looks like in the backyard. So we did put in a pool because it's so hot in Alabama and so humid. But next spring, should I say, I'll do the videos of digging. We're going to dig out a natural pond, and it's going to be in the tree line over here. And that's going to be good because the water filters itself through gravel. You use little size gravel to filter itself. You put plants in there, the waste and stuff, the plants feed off of, and it helps them grow. And it's a lot cooler, and I don't really have to worry about cleaning and adding chemicals. So if I can get away from the chemicals, I can. Even though we have a saltwater pool, still chemicals, chlorine in it. I'm gonna go left. So a lot of people said that when they bought chickens and guineas and stuff from like Tractor Supply or whatever, they lose it. We actually were able to keep our whole flock. No, we didn't come up with clever names, and the reason we got Goose and Rex in the game. Rex is the name of our rooster, which he is. You'll see him. There's Rex the rooster, and then this is all of his hens, and then we got Goose. So the reason right now that they're in this pen is because we don't have a fence.
You keep walking out of the pit. I don't know if you're trying to get in it or out
so
of it.
the reason we got them in this right now is because we don't have a fence, and two, we don't have a chicken coop built. We have this tractor, which we got from Justin Rose. If you know who he is, check him out. This is his, except we use smaller tires, but this is his plans for a chicken tractor.
Looks like that tire's flat.
It does. We move them once a week. Once every 2 weeks?
Every couple of weeks.
Every couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Once they pretty much eaten up this grass, then we'll move it. So it's about time for us to move them now. So we'll probably move them Monday or Tuesday.
You can see where we've had them before and the difference in the grass, how bright it is. This area right up here, this area right up here, we had them, it was a lot of dirt. And you can see how the grass is grown where they were. So they fertilize the grass, they work the ground. A lot of people that have a coop will clean the coop out and use their droppings for fertilization in their gardens. So
and we did choose to get Rhode Island Reds because they're a dual breed chicken. So they lay a ton of eggs, and they're also meat chickens. So that's why we went with Rhode Island Reds for that reason. This is our original flock. They'll be here until they decide that they're ready to go on about their way. We will never cull them, but if they lay eggs, then inside we'll incubate them, and then we'll grow them, and then we'll have chicken. Right now we have 34 eggs in the incubator, but they're not from our chickens because they're still young. We got about another month before our rooster starts to fertilize them. And they're just now starting to turn red up top. So we're gonna have to get their box ready for them to lay eggs in here soon. Probably when we move them this time, we'll probably put hay and stuff in there and put a fake egg in each box so they'll lay eggs.
So our goal with dual purpose birds is to A, have the eggs, and B, we will cycle through raising chickens to send at what we call freezer camp to fill our freezer with chicken. And so these will help supply us with our chicken meat. Not this group, but their offspring will supply us with our meat. Our families, my family, Angel's family, we'll make sure everybody's got plenty of chicken in their freezer.
And geese are important because geese are A, they're your alarm system, and B, they can be mean. So they're very loud. They're gonna let you know if there's danger, and they've alerted us once. They've alerted me once. Once before, they alerted me, and I didn't listen, but I learned a lesson that day. So this is our recent add to the flock, which is our guineas. We started with 6, now there's 4 that we're holding on to. And for some reason, you fill their food up, and the second you fill it up, they kick it all out on the ground and they eat it. Don't know why, but that's what they do. But these are our 4 guineas. 2 is missing in the wild somewhere. But they're basically our pest control. This year with the raised beds, even with treating them, we had an issue with aphids. They took over the cucumber and squash and zucchini. So once we uprooted them, we ended up having to treat the whole beds before we could even pull out all the weeds, and then we were able to pull the weeds, and now we have some in there for them. So we know one thing I know about guineas is guineas will eat all of those. They won't eat your plants, but they eat the bugs that get in your plants. So when they get a little bigger in a couple weeks, what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to release one, let it roam around about 2 or 3 days. When it comes back, then the idea is once it comes back, you release a second one. You let them roam. When they come back, then you release all of them. And right now we got 2 that have just went on about their way.
Yeah, we were fortunate. We mistakenly left the door not latched and they got out. 3 of them got out. I found one the next morning that was right here at the pen. So I got it back in the pen, and then it's probably the next day, I happened to look out the window and saw another one that had come back and was trying to figure out how to get back in the pen. So that's a good sign. That's what we want. We want them gravitating back to the pen because, of course, it's got their food. It's where they sleep. If we can get them very used to this being their home, even though they'll wander probably a good distance, they'll still come back to our property as they forage.
And this will also allow, because guineas also, not only are they a pest control, they're also an alarm system. So as our chickens start to get to a point to where they need to come outside, I just heard one. As our chickens start to get to a point where they need to come outside, we have a brooder box here, we'll be able to put them out in the brooder box. And then the guineas will also act as an alarm to let us know of danger. And if you don't know, guineas can fly very early. So these are already flying.
Yeah, we had to cap off the pen to keep them in it.
And last area I would show you, but it's a little ways away and it's kind of a mess. But we had an in-ground garden just on the other side of this barn. So we had 2 huge factors that happened. The first factor is that the neighbor's cows got loose and ate all our corn. We were like, okay, it is what it is. Maybe a week later, we had a major storm and 2 trees fell on the garden. So it's just, I guess it was not meant for us to have an in-ground garden down there. We did, however, have some sunflowers come up, but because we don't have a proper water system down there, they didn't make it. So next year, which I'll do a video of this too, this barn right here has a metal roof. I'm actually going to add some gutters to it and a downspout, and I'm gonna put one of those tanks out here, and I'm gonna run the line down there so that we're able to water it. So this grassy part back here, I will weed and cut it down. Kelly's dad has a tiller. He'll come over and till it, and he also has a rock collector. He'll come over and a rock scraper and kind of scrape up all the rocks and retail it. So we'll have a better area for in-ground garden next year. We didn't have a lot of time to, We didn't have a lot of time this year to do planting. We kind of rushed. We got a ton of crops, but we also lost a ton. Lesson learned. Next year we will do better. We will plan out better.